Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Chris, I appreciate the comments about Katrina. Actually, we did make sure that our people were able to protect themselves, and the real sign was not you loot, we shoot. It was people who shoot looters in Mississippi won't be prosecuted. I'm tickled to be with you. I've always appreciated the opportunity to be asked here as a governor of a state that's got a wonderful outdoor legacy, wonderful hunting, fishing, boating, a state that values dearly all our freedoms, including the Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms. And as a gun owner and hunter myself, I always enjoy this group. I can't ever come without telling my favorite family story. I'm a lawyer. I'm a recovering lawyer. In a family law firm in the old days, and one of my brothers, like me, enjoyed hunting, enjoyed guns, and this is 30 years ago or so. Wiley, my next older brother, bought him an M14 that was fully automatic, paid the federal permit to have it. And I said, Wiley, I like guns, and Marcia and I hunt, but why'd you get you a fully automatic M14? He said, Haley, in Yazoo County at night, largest county in the state, 940 square miles, there are only 2 deputy sheriffs on duty at night. And I don't want anybody knocking on my door at 3 o'clock in the morning, got something on his side of the door that I ain't got on my side of the door. We folks who live in rural areas understand better than some others that sometimes you have to protect yourself. And government in my state, Democrats or Republicans, would never take away the right of people to have the means to protect themselves. And so I feel very at home with you now. But I'm not going to talk to you today about the Second Amendment. I'm going to talk to you about this year's election. Now, I don't know how many of y'all here are Republicans or how many of you are Democrats or how many of you are independents. I know all of you believe in the right for our public to keep and bear arms. But y'all believe in the Second Amendment. I suspect y'all agree with me on a lot more than that. And for those of us who are conservatives, for those of us who believe in free market capitalism, for those of us that understand our Constitution created a government that is limited government. That the federal government, the power of the federal government is not just anything that somebody can get a majority in Congress to vote for. The powers of the federal government are limited by the Constitution, enacted by the states on behalf of we the people. The power lies with the people. It lies with you and us. That limited government has to stand for letting the people who work and earn the money keep more of what they worked for and earned, because we know you can do more with that money for your family and community than the federal government can do. This year is an enormous election. Chris alluded to the fact in 1994 it was my honor to be the chairman of the National Republican Party when we had the greatest midterm majority sweep of the 20th century, and we won a Republican majority in the House for the first time in 40 years, Republican majority in the Senate, and we won 32 Republican governors. Now, I will say to you, amen. I'm going to say to you sincerely, without any fear of contradiction, In the spring of 2010, the political environment for conservatives and Republicans is better than it was in the spring of 1994. That's just a fact. That's a fact. But I want to remind you this election is not till November. That it is not a foregone conclusion that we're going to win. It is not foreordained anywhere that everybody that's for us today is going to be for us in November, or that everybody that's for us today is actually going to vote in November. I want to have one message for you. And that message is we can't wait to 2012 to start taking our country back. This year's election is the election that matters. For me, as a governor and chairman of the Republican Governors Association, it matters to me because there are 37 governor's races this year. 3/4 of the states have governor's elections this year. It matters who the governor is. We also have more than 1/3 of the Senate, the entire U.S. House of Representatives, in states like North Carolina, the entire state legislature. These elections matter enormously, and they will set the field, the tone for the 2012 election. We've got to start winning now to start getting our country turned back around, to stop policies in Washington where they're spending so much money to make drunken sailors have a bad name. Everybody in this room knows that your family can't spend itself rich, and the federal government can't spend itself rich either. Now's the time for us to get ready in November to elect people that will return to the kind of policies that we believe in, of limited government, lower taxes, less spending, rational regulation, and yes, the protection of our Second Amendment rights and all the other rights that we have. Don't think it's automatic. Don't think it's going to be easy. But I'll tell you, my fellow Mississippian and somebody I admire, Fred Smith, is the founder and chief executive officer of FedEx, Federal Express. Fred has a great saying. Fred says, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Now let's keep our eye on the ball for these elections from now to November. Talk about it to your family, to your friends, the people you work with, the people you go to church with, the people your children go to school with or play Little League with, people you go fishing with or hunting with. You need to talk to everybody. I'm going to tell you something about politics. The most powerful weapon in American politics is when you say to somebody who respects you, I'm voting for this candidate, and I hope you will too. That is more powerful than any television advertisement. It's more powerful than any letter in the mailbox. It's more powerful than any ad in the newspaper. When you say to someone who respects you, I'm voting for Haley Barbour and I wish you would too, that affects people's behavior. And the next step is to say, join me in electing conservatives, in electing people that will put a stop to these policies, that will turn the ship of state around. Elect people who stand for the fact that we're going to make sure our children and grandchildren inherit in this country the same unfettered opportunities that we got in this country, the greatest country ever imagined, much less to exist in the history of the world. That's what these elections about. That's what this election's about. Are we going to remain a country where if you'll take your God-given ability and work as hard as you can, that you can rise to the top, the very top? All of us grew up in that America, and we owe it to our children and grandchildren to make sure they get to grow up in the same America. You can do it. We need you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank y'all very much.